Hi! Welcome to this part of my review featuring Legend Quest Omnibus Edition. If you haven't seen part 1 of my review featuring this old school classic fantasy role-playing game, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about success and attributes. Let's talk about dice first. Legend Quest uses dice for most tasks and occurrences. The only dice used in Legend Quest are 10-sided dice. Anytime a player needs to roll a chance of success or any other score of 1 to 100, the player should roll 2 10-sided dice. The other use of dice in this game is the die multiplier. When using a die multiplier, the player rolls one die and multiplies the result by the die multiplier. In the case of fractions, you always round up. If you aren't very good when multiplying fractions, you have a handy table. It's pretty small. Perhaps you could make it fit in a small card or paper the size of a business card. So it's going to be fairly easy to apply these multipliers as needed. Now let's talk about success. Once the chance of success has been computed, the player rolls the dice to see if there was success or failure. Success indicates that the player character performed the action that the player wished. In combat, this means that the opponent was wounded. When using the craftsmanship skill, the item produced is functional. So rolling this chance of success or under it means that the character achieved his or her goal. A failure indicates that the character did not accomplish the goal with this attempt. In combat, this means the opponent escaped injury. In a craftsmanship skill, the item produced will not function. If the character can change the circumstances, he or she may be allowed another attempt. It all depends on the situation, of course. Some tests may only be a one-time thing. Some successes are more difficult than others, and may require an extended period of time and/or more than one die roll. Business management, brewing, and teaching are just some of the examples of this. Other successes may involve more than one skill. Such tasks as getting information from a bartender may involve carousing, streetwise, and bribe. One skill's success may build on another's, or cover for a failure. The game master must control these linked attempts. Now, there is a noteworthy optional rule here, in my opinion, which concerns criticals. A critical is an exceptional success. This is either due to luck or extraordinary skill. Lucky criticals depend upon die rolls. No modifiers of any kind come into play when these take effect. You have a formula to determine this. When it comes to chance of success for an attack, if it's greater than 20%, you would need to roll between 1 to 5 in your 100 dice roll. But if the chance of success for an attack is lower than 20%, you need to roll a 1. That is, you have a 1 in 100 chance of scoring a critical success. A skillful critical comes into effect when the character has over 100 chance of success. If after all the modifiers have been applied, including any resistance, the character has a chance of success greater than 100, then the chance of a critical is equal to the chance of success minus 100. The effects of a critical should be substantial, but typically they will need to be determined on the fly by the game master. And it all depends on context as well. And there are also fumbles. Just as there is always a chance that a character will succeed, there is always a chance that the character will fail. A fumble occurs when something extraordinary causes the character to miss. Fumbles are either caused by bad luck or a lack of skill. There is a 5% chance of a fumble during any task. This 5% is increased by the non-skilled modifier if the character has no skill levels in the proposed task. Perhaps plus 15% to 20% chance of fumble. If the character is skilled in the attempted task, a fumble would occur between 96 to 100 as a result on your 100 dice roll. If the character is not skilled in the attempt, a fumble would occur in a roll between 81 to 100. A fumble indicates that something catastrophic has happened. This is more than simply failing in the task. Something has gone completely wrong. Now let's talk about attributes. 6 major attributes define every character. They are referred to by the abbreviation of SKWAP, that is, SKEWAP, which stands for Strength, Knowledge, Endurance, Willpower, Agility, and Psyche. All characters have these scores, whether they are player or non-player characters. Not only do the attributes describe the character, but they restrict the character as well. All characters must have a score of at least 1 in every attribute. The maximum score in an attribute is defined by the character's species, or perhaps their race. This also defines the attribute's average score, on how difficult it is to increase. When it comes to strength, this is the ability of the body to accomplish physical actions, of course. It is used in melee combat, lifting, and other athletic pursuits. Now, there is something here that I wouldn't consider too logical, and it's that the strength attribute stands on its own and is not dependent upon body weight or size. So this would basically mean that a small monkey is just as strong as a silverback gorilla. Maybe it was an error, perhaps? Or maybe because this is a fantasy role-playing game, perhaps there are some small creatures that are magically or supernaturally strong, who knows? Then we have knowledge. Knowledge is the ability of the mind to accomplish mental tasks. It is used in spellcasting, mentalism, senses, scholarly tasks, and craftsman skills that require precision. Knowledge in this game is loosely related to IQ. Then we have endurance. Endurance is the ability of the body to withstand physical attacks and pressures. It is used when taking damage or running. And this in fact is related to body size. Then we have willpower. Willpower is the ability of the mind to withstand mental attacks and pressures. It is used when fatigue begins and when resisting intimidation and other influences. The willpower attribute is very difficult to perceive unless the character is in a stressful situation. Next we have agility. This is the ability of the body to avoid physical attacks and perform complex physical manipulations. It is used to dodge, parry, run, attack with ranged weapons, and accomplish craftsman skills that require a steady, nimble hand. The agility attribute is the ability to react in time to be effective and encompasses manual dexterity. Then we have psyche. Psyche is the ability of the mind to avoid mental attacks and perform complex mental manipulations. It is used to influence people or to defend against magic or mentalism. The psyche attribute is the character's cunning and street smarts. I actually like this psyche attribute. It is somewhat similar to agility, but instead of being the speed of body, it's the speed of thought. Other similar terms might be wit or ingenuity or cleverness, if you want to better understand the attribute like that. Those with a low psyche might be described as dull or thick. It is not about the ability to think, that's knowledge, but instead the speed at which one thinks. And this concludes this part of the review. I really like how your chances of success are directly tied to these attributes. If one attribute is boosted or enhanced in some way, or damaged or negatively affected, it's going to have a huge impact on your rolls, on the tasks that you carry out. I also like the optional rule of critical successes during skill checks. This adds to a lot of colorful and fun interpretations when you are carrying out those checks, those tasks, but when it comes to fumbles as well, they will add a sense of doom or risk in certain precarious situations. Thank you for watching this part of the review. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know. In the next part, we are going to talk about skills. And thank you so much to those of you that have been supporting the channel by sending drive-thru RPG gift certificates. If anyone else wants to further support the channel, the information on how to do that will be in the description below. Once again, thank you, and see you later.